We're just going to give everybody a little introduction of RevUp Alabama because we're brand new in the state of Alabama. And I'm going to let my leads take over from here. First of all, RevUp Alabama is register, educate, vote, and use your power. Deshaun, I believe this is your slide.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. Who is the RevUp Alabama Coalition? We have an individual with a disability on the leadership team in each region of Alabama. We are one coalition of 20 coalitions in the United States. Those regions are Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, and Mobile.
Is this you, Jenny?
Yes, I'm just trying to, there we go. I got it. I had to move the people so I could see all the words.
Sorry.
All right. What do we do? Our mission and our mission statement says that it is to build the power of the disability vote through increasing civic engagement in the disability community and improving accessibility of elections, the accessibility of elections. But it's even more than that. It is being able to knock down barriers, for example, barriers that are not always obvious, for example. And RevUp stands for register, educate, vote, use your power. We need to use our voices here. We partner with nonpartisan organizations, lawmakers, and public officials to support the disability vote. Next slide, please.
Sorry, I was on the wrong computer.
You're fine. Where do we plan to do disability voter awareness? We want to do voter education partnerships with other nonpartisan coalitions and groups, such as ARC of Alabama, getting education to those with disabilities, but also those who are poll workers. Our coalition meetings are the second Monday of each month via Zoom.
At 3 p.m.
At 3 p.m., yes. Thank you.
I believe this is Adelie, isn't it?
Yes.
Adelie, can you read these next two slides, please?
Yes. When do we plan to start the activities? We are actively working on connecting with each county probate judge and clerk to gain more knowledge to develop a better concrete timeline as we head towards Election Day in November. We are reaching out to both those that serve as poll workers and people with disabilities who would like to learn how to vote. Why do we want to collaborate with you? To educate individuals who have disabilities and those who will be assisting individuals with disabilities to work with each other for equal access within our communities.
Karen. Karen Jones.
I know me and my mute button. I have a time with my mute button. How can we collaborate? Input from public officials, disability awareness education, disability rights training for poll workers, attend meetings, workshops, and civic engagements directed toward disability voting rights. We hope to plan activities around and during National Disability Voting Rights Week, which is September the 9th through 13th, 2024.
Are there any questions that we could answer? Or ideas for next steps to collaborate with other groups?
This is
Yeah, I
Zan.
was watching.
Oh,
Hey, this
go
is
ahead.
Adley. I was watching a posted video last night from the Capital Journal over on Channel 10, which is Alabama Public Television, where they talked with Secretary of State Wes Allen in large part about the upcoming election and a few other things, but found out within that interview that not only does the Secretary of State's office work with the clerks and the probate judges, they also work with the sheriffs across the state, because the sheriffs have the chain of custody for the ballots. So whether it be regular ballots or absentee ballots. So we might need to reach out to some of the sheriffs as well for future meetings. And I'm wondering why the probate judges, because I reached out to several within my area over the weekend and via email, and gave them the information about today's meeting. I'm wondering why they didn't show up. So
Okay, we just continue to invite them. That's how you gain a relationship with people, is you continue to invite them.
This is Zan.
Hey, Zen.
I just want to say thank you. I put it in the chat, but we in Georgia, RevUp, have not contacted all the clerks and stuff. It's a great idea. I think it's brave. I think it's innovative. And congratulations. You should get kudos. Yay for reaching out and trying. A lot of people won't come, but the one or two that may come will learn a lot. So thank you. Thank you so much. And Alabama wins on this one because Georgia hasn't done this yet. So yay, Alabama. Sorry, I'm from Alabama.
It was some digging. There was some digging that was involved, but we found some interesting
Sorry,
content.
Katie.
Oh, go ahead, Dickie. I'm sorry.
No, I talked over you. I there was a little bit of a delay. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, and some of you on the call know this, but I wanted to mention it just as a point of reference. During the 2022 midterms, the Voting Rights Fellow at Alabama Disabilities Advocacy Program and I were planning to go down to Mobile and had been working with the county election manager down there. And they had welcomed us to come into polling stations on election day. Some of y'all may know that Alabama will not allow observers into polling places unless that is your polling place. But after working with the election manager, we were pretty confident. We went over voting machines with them. And then the night before the election, we got an email from the probate judge forbidding us to come down. And the reason I mention it now is because you're talking about reaching out to probate judges. And if it's possible to, especially with friendlier probate judges, they may allow you into polling locations to do some monitoring in terms of checking for accessibility on election days. But if anybody has that kind of a friendly relationship, that is very valuable, because it is really hard to get probate judges to listen to advocates, that at least that I've found. If someone else has a different experience, I would love to hear about it. I think in Jefferson County it's a little easier, but everywhere else I've tried, I've had very limited results. So I just wanted to mention that because it seemed relevant.
I'll just mention here that in response to Nikki's question, a few years ago, in 2020, I was trying to observe the absentee ballot count. And I went in and thought, I would just walk in and tell them I'd like to come look as a citizen. I was also president of our local league at the time. And I was told that only Republicans and Democrats were allowed during the general election to come into the absentee polling place, which was in the basement of our courthouse. And so that is something that is also true of polling places, that I think, from my understanding, they will allow observers to be assigned from the two major parties as poll watchers. Poll monitors, in the past, when I've been trained on poll monitoring, you do that from outside, you don't go inside. And so I think, and this is something that would be a good thing to talk to, I don't know who, I guess probably probate judge, but I have yet to figure out a good reason why nonpartisan people are not allowed into polling places.
I agree, Kathy, especially because we have a federal mandate to be allowed into any institution in the state that they can't reject, right? So like if we show up at Taylor Hardin Hospital and say, hey, we're coming in to monitor on whether or not you've actually done what you're supposed to do regarding absentee ballots and voting work, they can't stop us. It baffles me that they can stop us going into polling locations. My plan this year, and I mean, obviously this is a good thing to mention to the group, but my plan this year is to do outdoor poll monitoring at a few key locations that are very populated and ask people to do some accessibility surveying while inside. But it's a frustrating solution.
Vicki, I was actually also wanting to mention to the group, one of the things that I've been talking to some of our local leagues about is a project that we would love to collaborate with other organizations, because it's a big job, is to take the polling list from the primary and pick the larger polling places and just go in and meet with a probate judge or anybody that will meet with us and do an out of election, not during the election day, but before the election, to actually understand what they think the accessibility of that polling location is. And then we could write it up and basically do a report, because I think that might actually give them feedback if there's a problem, when they'd actually have time to do something about it.
I am all in on that, Kathy. If you want some help, I will collaborate to my heart out for something like that. I would love to be able to send the report to the Southern District Attorney's Office also.
The
Southern District Attorney's Office too, which was our original intention in Mobile. It just never happened. All we were able to do was just compile a report that said, to no one's surprise here, that none of the voting machines worked as intended anywhere. But
yeah, they don't work in Morgan County. I know that.
I see that on that Alexia put in, but one of the things we really would need is a tool to capture all the evaluation of the polling places. If we did that in a central site for people to go back and look at what the results were. And if we could load photographs, that would help too. I know LDF has a tool like that because I've used it during poll monitoring in the past, but I don't know where it goes, where that data goes.
With you as part of collaboration, like the spreadsheet and results of the survey, and it also has the ability to upload photos and stuff. So let me talk to, because it's in Qualtrics, but I can figure out how to share access to it, basically, if we want to do that.
Well, this is Karen, and
Okay.
we at RevUp decided to do polling precinct audits. So we've divvied up. Katie has sent out a list for us to contact the probate judges in our respective regions and to get a list of the polling locations, precinct locations, if they have them ready. Now, we understand that some areas wait at least 6 weeks before time, but we want to make
Get
sure that
started now.
those polling those precincts are accessible. I came out of mine this past election and my leg was given and I reached for the rail, which wasn't there. So I called. Good thing my neighbor came up and got me, you know, caught me, because I'm so used to it being there. For some reason, the rail was not there for me to even grab a hold to. So I took a picture of it. I called my probate judge and I said, I almost failed going out. And these are things that we don't notice. And I was wondering if once the precincts are made available, can we have some people to go in to make sure that it's accessible and that even the parking spaces, because during election days, some sites don't have handicap parking spaces. So we want to take a look at the egresses, ingresses, as well as parking, wheelchair accessibility, ramps, making sure it's wide enough, the doors to make sure that it's wide enough to go down those hallways, because some older buildings were not ADA, in my opinion, ADA compliant, because I mean, you can walk down some of those hallways, and I've eaten a lot of cookies lately during COVID, and I can hardly get down some of those corridors. And then just to be able to maneuver wheelchairs in my mind, thinking cutting some of those corners is kind of hard because it's very narrow. And as I was discussing it with the probate judge, he was like, that's something to think about, Karen, because, I'm glad you brought that to my attention. And so he's willing to get together to see how we can do that. And that's a project in and of itself. But I know in Montgomery, they usually wait to the nth hour to select precinct locations. And so what we're doing is kind of getting dates and information with the probate judges to see, because that's something prior to the election you want to know. How, we don't want to wait the day before. If it's something that can be corrected, I think that's something we need to be looking at, because it's already June, mid-June already. Look
Yeah,
like
we're
June
getting
just got.
thank you, Karen. Yeah, we're getting a startup list of precincts because it's a very big task to get all the precincts in order. They change constantly, but if we get what we have now, we can always go in and edit it. It's better to edit than to try to do everything at one time. Alexia posted the AAPD Polyplace accessibility audit tools, and actually that's what we're planning on using. Ideas have been to go in to the polling places and talk to the polling workers ourselves, do video of slideshow like what we showed in the beginning of our meeting today, and see if the people who do the training for the polling workers will show that during their training. So there's different ideas of how we may be able to get to the individuals that are going to be the ones working with the individuals who walk into their facilities. So it's just trying to find which avenue is the best avenue for each one. And it's all going to be different for everybody, I'm sure. Because every county's different.
Kathy hands is raised.
Okay, sorry, Kathy.
I was going to just ask what Nikki had planned and what we were talking about. I would really love to be able to have, if you've got a list, if you've got the list of the ones you need to have surveyed, then I could solicit my league members to do, to pick a polling place to go do the audit. I would like to do it before Election Day because there's going to be a lot of other things going on Election Day that are, going to pull on us. So I really think what Karen was talking about, doing it before Election Day, would work a lot better for us. And there's also, so if, as soon as, I guess I'd like to talk to Nikki about, what she's got and then what you've got, and then let's see if we can, the league would love to work with other organizations to make this happen. And we don't need to lead it. We just want to be, making it happen.
Yes, if all
Let's
of
get
us,
together,
Nikki,
Kathy.
Yeah.
I would really like that. Maybe we can chat offline a little bit about this sometime.
Okay, sounds good.
And I'll talk to Nancy and figure out. Sometimes people create surveys and then the spreadsheet data goes somewhere, and I know she knows where it goes. But I'll figure out how I can get access that can actually be shared. That is useful.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
and
Sure.
Nikki, can you get with RevUp too, if you don't mind?
Yeah,
You
I
all
love that.
can connect together and figure out.
Yeah, anything we can do together that helps, because like Kathy mentioned and you said too, Katie, like there's a lot to sort
Yeah.
through. So anything that we can all do to help minimize that is excellent.
You're right. I just started with the Birmingham precinct, and it was like almost 50 pages. And I was like, okay, this needs to be really done now and just edited later on. Does anybody else have any other ideas besides what we've been discussing?
I was wondering, as far as a Get Out the Vote campaign for people with disabilities, just like everyone else across the state, the turnout has been so poor that we've got a lot of people registered, but there's not a lot of people voting. And it seems like a really natural time to start doing maybe some videos, or I saw some really excellent videos came out a couple of years ago. I think Jenny, you may have been in one of them, but
Yes.
talking about the importance of voting, and then we could start sharing those out too, and having people with disabilities voices and talking about the importance of just showing up, and if you need a ride to the polls, make sure that we need to start asking people in our community to start stepping up and helping deal with this transportation problem, because obviously the public transportation is not good.
One question I had is it illegal with the SB1 to get and this is for the lawyers on the call, to get a grant? Like there's one organization up here, Kathy, I can't remember the name of it exactly, but the organization that transported people at the 2022 elections.
I think that was Lift Our Vote was running a car service.
Yes, that's what it was. Lift Our Vote. That would be someone maybe we could partner with transportation wise. Karen, you've got your hand up.
There's also and I know Jessica from Lift Our Vote, um, rolling to the polls. And when I can get with my friend, if she has the bus or van available, we just go and pick people up. We just put it out there. You need a ride. And most time, if they're comfortable with you, they'll uh, they'll start contacting you early, especially my seniors in the community. You know, I need a ride. So what we did one year was at the community center, Connecting Life Center. We had breakfast there, you know, like refreshments. And then we set up there where when people called, we were already there. Tell us what time you wanted to go. And then if the lines were long, we put them in the center and just wait so they can eat or just talk. And then take them to the precincts, which were at the Connecting Life Center. Is kind of central to everywhere, you know, everywhere. So we don't tell them who to vote. We just giving a ride because that's you can't be partisan. So we just say anybody who wants a ride. We're catering to the disabled community first. And so that's what we did. And we got the local radio show to put it out on the air, got on social media. And like I said, we just pick people up and take them to their respective precincts. It's real simple. If it's raining or something, if the lines are long, take them back to the center until it kind of lightens up, you know, outside. And then lunch and just have conversations when they while they're waiting. And it's really fun to just the fellowship, just the fellowship. And you go on to vote. Yeah, but it's just really fun. And at the end of the evening, what I wanted to do this go round when it's a presidential election is have a watch party, you know, at the center. As the results come in, you may want to do pizza or whatever. And just have a watch party as the numbers come in. Again, fellowship. You got a bus there, cars or whatever. And then it's a way to connect our disabled voters to just voters in general. Uh, and just talk about the experiences they had that day. Oh, it was the line was so long. We had this, we had that, and so you taking notes too, as their experiences. I like to jot down what happened so we can fix it if it's an issue. There's a real issue. Um, but yeah, that's all. Just make it fun, and I think social media is gonna be a big part of voting and making it fun, uh, ensuring that the first time voters, we make it a big deal. Oh, you voted for the first time, you know, not only our high schoolers, and then sending the message out. If you will be 18, you can register to vote 6 months prior to the election. You can register to vote 6 months prior to the election. You'll be 18 by November, so you can go ahead and register now. You know what I'm saying? So we push that and make them feel excited. Oh my God, in 6 months, you're going to be. And a lot of them like that. We found out doing little snippets like that. They like that. Talking to my special ed teachers. Are you telling the children it's time to vote? Amping them up and getting them ready. And they like that because a lot of teachers don't know as well for the special. Nobody includes, it's very non-inclusive. Nobody includes our special needs babies. Call them babies, they're not babies, but nobody includes them. So you engage with your special needs teacher or activities, your school activities, teacher, sponsor, whatever, who's over clubs and stuff. Get the SGA involved. And then what you tell the SGA, listen, SGA, y'all the Student Government Association. Are y'all including the disabled students? Or do y'all have a representative on your SGA? And they like that. So those are some things.
So piggyback off of Karen, what I'm thinking is, because we have a lot of kids who are not taught about voting in school with disabilities. But we also have the group that has been taught about voting who needs that support also. So maybe something before and then a debriefing afterwards together as a team. School does start in August. Some do go in the summer. And getting connected with like vocational rehab, the ARC, and the different programs within the colleges that serve people with disabilities, and have different presentations of teaching them about voting and helping them learn how to student support services, teaching them how to become voters and helping them through that process so that when November comes, they're ready.
I think that sounds like that would be really helpful. It's part of it would be to set it up with the schools as soon as possible, so when they get back, that it won't be a big disruption to get into their classroom. I think right now our local schools here in Huntsville, they are in the office until probably in about another week or two, and then they take off for about a month, and they don't come back till close to August. So I think if you're wanting to get into some of the public schools, then you probably ought to put in a request, send in an email in the next within the next week, and describe what it is you want to do and which schools you'd like to visit, and if you know what classrooms you want to visit. I think that would help. And I used to be in the PTA when my daughter was in school, and one of the things that really helped was if you have a connection with someone that's in the PTA, then they can help you get into those venues, like, get a meeting with the superintendent and actually talk to them about why you want to do what you're wanting to do.
Another way,
I'm a long time out of high school
yeah,
stuff right now, but
I am too.
The principals.
Another way maybe is to go through like Davina, are you still on? Go through Phoenix, maybe get Phoenix involved too. Do something like we did with Phoenix and the other guys a few years ago with the employment over at the VR in Huntsville when we did that.
Yes, I'm here. That was a disability employment
Yes.
fair that we did at ADRS, and we did that with Phoenix in the Horizon School. And we're working on this year. Didn't want to announce it so soon because we just applied for some funding, but we're working on hosting or presenting a transition fair this year, and we'll be doing that with Phoenix and UCP, United Cerebral Palsy, along with Disability Resource Network. And that's actually how we met Dr. Sharon Brown last year.
Yeah.
She brought her Bulldogs for Life students there. So it's great collaboration and opportunity to meet others in the community.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something, Dr. Brown?
Yeah, that was a great experience. We had about 8 students, 7, 8 students that went, and one of the best experiences they've ever had post high school. Their parents were happy. They got a chance to interact with the employers there. I think one student actually got some leads, but it was a great experience for them just to interact with employers, and they brought their one-page resume and they dressed for success. It was really nice, and we actually had received some funding from somebody, a sponsor in the community, where we were able to get lunch and have a rented van and bring them there. So it was a big deal for them. So yeah, thank you for the invite. Thank you for asking, Davina.
I think
Yes.
every opportunity that we have to share, um, rev up, like next week when I do my Juneteenth event, rev up. My banner is gonna be up. Oh, thank y'all for my swag came last week, so we ready to put things out there. Any opportunity, the back to school, I give away free uniforms. I talk about the code of conduct, and so I have a session, just a brief session on IEP 504 is what parents need to do. And so again, I'm gonna have that rev up information out there. Any opportunity that we have to share rev up, that's what we need to do from here on out, because this is a very serious election, as with all of them. But I think in Montgomery, voter registration isn't so much the issue. It's the issue of getting people to the polls to vote. So that's what I've been seeing in the last, the voter apathy, voter exhaustion, because look like the older elected officials have been transitioning, especially when I say transition, dying during COVID. So we back to back to back elections, special elections, and a lot of people are just exhausted. So we also teach about absentee voting. And so we really have to utilize every avenue that we can to make sure people go to vote. And if the disabled individual can't come, send a family member or a friend to get the information, and you teach them. And just like when I advocate, I teach the children to advocate for themselves. So it's always a teaching process and a learning process from each other.
So I'm thinking that we need to connect with like different nonpartisan disability connected agencies that serve not only adults with disabilities but high schoolers to do this is my thoughts, is what I'm thinking. And that's why I was asking Davina about that, is about what we had done a few years ago with the other agencies, trying, to connect with other agencies that serve this population. So to maybe do a presentation on, voting, the who, what, where, when, why, and how of voting, and help these individuals, walk them through the process. So that way, when they go to vote, they're excited about it. They're not just thrown into it like a lot of us were several years ago. Sharon, do you have any ideas, Sharon?
Do I have any ideas?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that we did is we brought in people to talk about voting. And so right now, brought in people like yourselves to talk about the group. And so while we don't have the program anymore, I still have access to some of the students, and there may be a way that we can bring them to a neutral space and do some voter registration around that. Maybe have some lunch for them and bring them to a mutual space. That might be a way to engage them because I'm still in touch with most, if not all.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of where my mindset was at, was exactly what Sharon's talking about, is to come up with a plan to reach these individuals.
This is Adler again. Y'all are going to have a wonderful chance to do that. Maybe not tomorrow, but the following Tuesday, the 18th, at the the Governor's Disability Policy Summit, then at Lakeshore Foundation. So goes on from 9 to 4 next Tuesday, the 18th. And then if you want to stay, they're going to have a connection session from 4 until 6, networking session. So as part of the policy summit. So
Thank you, Adelie. I appreciate it. Yes, next Tuesday is a disability summit down at Lakeshore Foundation.
yeah, not tomorrow, but the following Tuesday,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
18th. So, and I'm planning to try to get my mom to get me registered, although I'm supposed to be at school that day, but my several members of my leadership team at school are going to be up there. They already are working, I think, on, even though we're off today, but they're working on now on getting their table ready to set up for that. So,
All right. Well, we're at the top of our hour, so I'm going to go ahead and close our meeting so our interpreter can finish her day, and I thank her so much for joining us and helping us out today. The next RevUp Alabama Coalition meeting is July 8th at 3 p.m. here on Zoom. If you're not on our contact list, we will get you on our contact list, and we will get you the invite for future meetings. And I will let everybody have a good rest of their afternoon, and thank you everybody for joining us.
so
you
dropped
all.
Thank you, we will.
I dropped
Everybody,
in
have
the
a good one.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
I dropped in the chat
Jeannie.
just now earlier the information about Briarwood's parent fair coming up in August. So that's there.
Thank you, Miss Adelie.
You're welcome.